Welcome back. Turning now to the southern border crisis. A previously deported illegal immigrant is behind bars today, accused of murdering his roommate in Georgia. Police arrested this man, 27-year-old Carlos Eduardo Gomez Rios, after he allegedly stabbed the 40-year-old man multiple times in the neck. He later died at the hospital from his injuries. Now, border officials deported Rios back in 2016, but he illegally re-entered the country at an unknown date, we're told. He is currently being held at the Troup County Jail without bail.
All right, turning to the border crisis, a local affiliate in Yuma, Arizona, reporting Uber drivers are helping transport illegal migrants from the border to destinations within the interior part of the U.S. We reached out to Uber for comment. The company didn't actually deny the story, but it did say it's working with law enforcement to prevent human trafficking. Joining us now for a reaction on this, former acting DHS Secretary Chad Wolf. Chad Wolf, welcome. Cartels are now reportedly using Uber, helping transport these migrants from the southern border to other parts of the United States. How does this compound the problem?
Well, what it tells us is that, again, the cartels and the smugglers and the traffickers are usually one step ahead of law enforcement. So they're using rideshare apps like Uber to help transport these migrants that they smuggle across the border, either to get to Border Patrol stations in some cases or to evade Border Patrol. And so it's really incumbent upon Uber to lay out steps that they are going to take to address this issue. It's one thing to work with law enforcement to end human trafficking, and I think that's a laudable goal. But now there's very specific evidence now that their technology and rideshare app and drivers are being used in this smuggling chain, and they need to figure out how to fix this and how to address this, and they need to communicate with the American people how they're doing that.
Well, as we know, anyone can hail a taxi, and Uber doesn't ask for your social security number. So how do you mitigate this at the border without implementing it in the rest of the country?
Well, sure. I think there's some common sense things. If an Uber driver decides to pick up someone within a mile or two of the border, and there's 20 folks out there and they have bags that are not really luggage, but more bags that you see that migrants use to transport some of their luggage, they can immediately notify law enforcement. They do not have to accept that ride. So there's a number of things that they can do just using common sense that applies to situations along the border. We do this every day, or I say Border Patrol does this every day along the border. That doesn't necessarily apply to other parts of the country because the circumstances are so unique there, I think. But this does require some work on Uber's part to address the situation.
Chad, we spoke with Congressman Dan Muser on Monday about reports that hundreds of migrants were being flown into Biden's hometown of Scranton, Pennsylvania. He told us he was never alerted by the administration. How can the federal government drop people off with no coordination whatsoever from state or local governments? And what are the potential security implications there?
So there's two things going on here. If they're transporting minors, then they're doing that to another federal facility, whether it's in the state of Pennsylvania or other locations. So they're moving them from one federal facility along the border to another federal facility inland. Now, if it's family members or it's single adults, that's a different situation. And what they're doing is they're actually flying them to other parts of the country and then releasing them. And I think that's where the coordination has to be with state and local partners, because those individuals are being released into communities. And so local communities, mayors, governors, public safety officials, and others need to understand that there's 100 folks being let off in your community that may stay in your community or may go elsewhere, and you need to be aware of that. So absolutely, the Biden administration needs to be communicating. The fact that they're not, the fact that they're doing this, they continue to do it in the cover of night, just signifies that they're trying to hide something. And if they would just communicate with folks, obviously,
Chad, I want to squeeze in one before we've got to go. We've seen minor changes this year to policy at the border, including the administration reinstating Remain in Mexico last week. The DHS actually announced last Monday, I believe, that they're raising the cap of those H-2B visas for low-skilled foreign workers. Are these policies one step forward, two steps back? What does all this look like in 2022?
Well, of course, the H-2B visas, obviously getting folks, or H-2A visas are getting folks in here on a temporary basis. Now, whether they stay here temporarily and they go back, or whether they remain here permanently, I think is a law enforcement issue. And unfortunately, this administration is putting a lot of handcuffs on ICE to remove individuals. The Remain in Mexico program, we'll have to see if they're actually implementing it in a way that's effective or not. And I think there's a lot of loopholes that they have put into the program here recently that's going to make it ineffective at the end of the day.
Great points. Chad Wolf, thanks for spending part of your morning with us.
All right, thank you.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.